What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I need a haircut, and anyway, you're on the Brandon Coin YouTube channel. So we're back in the shop. Only have this place for like another month, so I've been basically moving stuff out of here slowly but surely. I did have my office computers up and running. They were doing some salad things, but this one is no longer eligible to run on salad. You see, she's degraded. That's what the orange status means right there. And that's because I originally threw this system together. Hold on. This one together with a 3060 gig, I think it's a 4-core Intel i5 and 16 gigs of RAM. Now, none of that necessarily puts it in a degraded state, except for the fact that I used a 120 gig boot drive. Previously, Salad only needed about 30 to 40 gigs for the container files to run. But since they had raised the minimum file size to 70 gigs, there's not enough space on that drive with Windows, and with it being able to swap WSL containers in and out and downloading and uploading, that kind of thing, it always runs out of space. I deleted so much stuff off there to try to make it have more room. So I'm going to end up bringing that system home because I need to bring it all home eventually, but we'll be swapping that system out to a 500 gig drive. That should give us plenty of headroom. And then I also need to hunt down, it only has 2 DIMM slots, so I really need to get that bad boy up to 32 gigs of RAM. So I don't have any 16 gig DIMMs for DDR3 because this is an older system, but I guess I'll need to go hunt some down online. In other news, my wall-mounted PC needs to get moved. So instead of just moving it, I figured why not build a PC out of it. It's nothing special. It's an 8-core Xeon, so 8 cores, 16 threads. It's got a 3060 gig in it. It's got 32 gigs of RAM and a 500 watt power supply. Very, very modest, nothing crazy system, but it's done well for me. So I figured, you know what? That's another salad machine. We can definitely put it to work and keep it working, but we need to put it in a case. So I don't think I have any cases here. Yeah, I think I'm pretty much fresh out of cases. It's not really a thing that I keep in stock because I got out of building computers, but I'm going to order in a case and do a build with that. And yeah, so I guess I'll wait for that case to come in and build it here and then move it home. So that'll be in the next couple days. Now, in other news, I have this dual Xeon here, and I had some issues getting it running when I first bought it. It's a super micro board. I don't think I'm going to end up even wasting my time on it, so I'll probably just put it up for as-is parts on the web store and let it go for really cheap, because I imagine the CPUs are still good, but I just don't know if the motherboard's good. I couldn't get any video out, but then it wasn't doing any error codes. So yeah, that's kind of the situation. As for other stuff that's in here, I got to get these GPUs down. We got a 2070 Super. There's a 560 Ti, a 30 RX, or sorry, R390X, Nintendo 64. That is a 1080 Ti that I need to, that's the cooler, and I need to put it on the 1080 Ti. So it's one of those projects that I never got around to. Yeah, just odds and ends. There's not much left in the display case. I've been cleaning that out. So yeah, little by little, it's all just making its way to the garage, because I don't think I'm going to end up finding me another retail space that's reasonably priced and closer than this one for the short term. Obviously, the long term, I'm keeping my eyes open because I do want to have a walk-in retail space, not only just to give me somewhere to go, but that way I can meet people if they want to come and check stuff out, that kind of thing, because that does happen from time to time. But yeah, so let me unplug this bad boy. I'll go ahead and throw the side panel on it, and then we'll take it home. Now, where are the screws for it? I hate when I take a side panel off and it's been like months because I don't know where the screws are. I think they're right there. Okay, be right back. All right, so got the computer there. Also got a RX 580 here. A friend of mine picked that up. It's used as is for parts, so I don't know what he's gonna do with it. The fans are actually still in good shape on it. It's a ROG Strix, and normally the fans are toast on those. But I also got the glass side panel on it. It's actually a nice little case. It's got like RGB in the front and stuff. I might end up putting this one in my son's room, like in the closet or something, like up high on a shelf. And it'd be like dual purpose, a little bit of heat and like a night light. I told my wife I'm spreading computers through the house, and she's like, that's really happening again. Because last winter, we were in a camper because we were building the house that we're in now. So she got 1 year free of no mining equipment in our living space, because the camper was super limited on like breakers and stuff like that. If I tried to run anything, really, it was just not optimal. But previously, the years before, I always had, you know, some little Doge miners or some some computers or something. Heck, in my last house, I had a Ryzen 9 system with 3090s behind my living room TV in the living room, because it was like catty corner with like an entertainment system. So I put that behind there. So there's just always been like computers everywhere in the winter time. And she's like, we're going back to that? And I said, oh yeah, we're going back to that. And that heat is gonna pay us some money, because I'd much rather, even at a loss, I would mine at a loss for heat than turn on my, because I have electric heat in my house. And yeah, so more better. Instead of paying for heat that doesn't generate any coins, I'd rather run computers that generate coins or dollars. But I am gonna make this is gonna be a salad machine, and I am gonna turn on mining workloads enabled, so whenever it doesn't have a job, it will be mining. But oh well. Anyways, let's get home and put a boot drive in there and get that bad boy up and running. All right, guys, so I got this back home. We swapped over the drive from a 120 to a 500 gig. That should definitely give us some headroom, so that we can run those 70 gig containers. And a lot of people are like, well, 70 gigs should be fine on a 120 gig drive. Well, from what I understand, it can have an old container on there, and it can be trying to download a new container before it dumps the old one. So you do need more than just 70 gigs available. A lot of people are running, 256, 500. I've even seen people with 1 terabyte drives in there. Your mileage will vary, but yeah. So I'm running 500s and 1 terabytes in pretty much all my systems except for this one, and now it's left me hanging. I did pull the RAM out of there. It had Corsair Vengeance 2 8GB sticks. Let's go jump on the computer. I need to order some 16 gig DIMMs, because this thing needs 32 gigs to let this 3060 thrive. So, all right, let's go get it. All right, so after doing a bit of research, it looks like potentially this board does not even support 16 gig per DIMM. And looking it up online, DDR3 is kind of expensive for 16 gigabyte for DIMM when it's not server memory. It's actually really not common. It looks like when people were running 32 gig setups, they're running 4 times 8. Obviously, this only has 2 DIMM slots, so we're limited to 16 gigs. That blows, because 16 gigs is definitely going to hold this system back. So I'm gonna rip this thing apart, and essentially we're gonna change up this entire system. So yeah, let's get to pulling it apart. All right, so a good amount has changed here. I swapped out to a Z390 motherboard, i7 9700. We have 2 sticks of 16 gig of RAM, and we have 4 DIMM slots total, so we could pump this up to 64 or even more, because now we're on DDR4. We got our 3060 back in here, and we have our 500 gig drive. So just need to fire it up, throw Windows on it, then salad, and get this bad boy up and going. And let's go ahead and deploy this thing inside the house. Since we're going to be running it inside the house, we will need Wi-Fi. So I got a little Wi-Fi dongle. That'll be good enough. So we are finally back assembled, set up, installed, and we're back to chopping. I did have to clock the CPU cooler to clear the VRMs and the RAM and stuff. It was, it'll work. Anyway, so 3060, 32 gigs of RAM, i7 9700, which is an 8-core, 8-thread CPU. So we should be good to go and enable some workload jobs. The system is on Wi-Fi because I am going to be putting it into the house somewhere. So I just updated all the drivers, got Salad installed, enabled WSL. I'm only 5 out of 6 because I don't have fiber here, so I turned off video streaming or bandwidth sharing, but I have mining enabled, mining workloads enabled as well, because when they're not chopping and doing compute workloads, I do want it to be creating heat and mining. So I know it won't be making much, but something is better than nothing than me having to run my heat in my actual house. So let me power it down now and move it where it's going to sit for the foreseeable future and be our little profit heater. All right, so this is in the kids' playroom. We just kind of threw this up temporary because we never ended up getting the closet doors we wanted. So I put it up there, a little bit of an undersight. There's no plugs in the closet, so it's run out to these plugs. But we put plugs up really high because we didn't want plugs down low in our kids' playroom. But yeah, so I turned most of the RGB away, so that way it'll probably attract less attention. And there it is. So it's running. Let's go remote into it. All right, so I remoted in and I forgot I don't have a display plugged into this now, so it gets kind of really laggy without a dummy plug or a display. So I have a dummy plug. I'm gonna go plug in, but I'm gonna get Salad up and running first. So go ahead and click chop now. Let that bad boy chop. Let's go plug this dummy plug in. All right, so now you can see the screen looks better. It's not as glitchy. I got an HDMI adapter in. We're still remoted in. It's showing 11 to 22 cents an hour. And it looks like the CPU is being hit about 80% and the GPU on the CUDA is being worked about 100%. So looks like we are mining at the moment. Now it does have a WSL Ethernet connection, but it's not really downloading at any considerable amount of speed, so I don't think we're pulling a container right now, but hopefully we will sooner than later. But anyway, guys, thanks for coming out, thanks for watching. Yeah, got one profit heater deployed. This is a salad heater, one salad heater deployed into the house. On to the next one for a future video.